the Australian.
Well, take it easy. Yeah, thanks for that, mate. I'll see you on Monday, yeah? Yeah, I'll see you Monday.